Hello again to my channel, and today we are going to look at an all-in-one device, the ONKYO CR-70R. We're going to discuss this device from a build quality, not so much from the capacitors, because this device I haven't changed the capacitors and that's not the focus of today's video. The focus is, however, why in my channel I have an all-in-one device and why I like this device so much, and that is because of its simplicity of use. As you can see, I'm not in my usual gig. Today I'm at my parents' house because this device I bought exactly for elderly people. And why is it so interesting? Well, it is built as a lot of 90s era hi-fi, nicely built, very rigid chassis, very nice details that we are going to see in a moment. But also from a usability perspective, super easy to operate. There is a standby on-off button here in the front. The proper power switch is at the back, so this is only turning standby on and off. The open-close lid for the CD tray. It has a nice bright display in the center, and you will see here that there is the tuner selection, so FM radio. Just by pressing it switches the input signal and you can switch through the FM modes and the CD input, and at the same time it's the button that turns the CD plays the CD. Then below you see a large stop button, rewind and forward or next and previous, also for the FM tuner, and a source button. Actually, this all-in-one device has surprisingly a lot of inputs and outputs. It has a total of 3 inputs and 2 outputs. That is because it has, this is from the era where people still had cassettes. So 2 of the inputs are tape deck, input-output, and then there is an auxiliary on top. Loudness near the volume, so that it is clear what it is about. Motorized volume, and then behind the lid, a very nicely well done lid, typically from ONKYO, Yamaha, Denon. You see the more advanced functions like the radio, memory, presets, etc. selection, bass travel balance, turning on and off 2 speaker outputs, so A and B, and then the headphone output in the old style 3.5 jack. So let's look at the inside of these all-in-one device and why I've selected it for today's video. So as you can see, it's very nicely organized. You see here on the left I have left the rubber band. Let's start with that so that I can put it aside. So the CD tray had stopped working because the original rubber band was broken, and this is the reason why I had to open this unit. Actually a bit difficult to access. Normally you get out the trays and you can very easily access the belts, but this time I had to dismantle the upper board to have sufficient access. I had to push the tray out, and even then there was very little room to put the belt, which is actually where you see now the belt here on the top cover. That is actually the position, but then on the inside, but this is the location. So if you're looking for that belt, it's in this location, but inside the mechanism. So since we are talking about the CD player, typical Sony transport, I think a KSS 210 or a 151, one of these very common CD transports. And notice it has been surrounded by a metal chassis. This gives the wall structure more rigidity. It shields the CD transport from the transformer, and it also serves at the same time to hold the main board of the CD player with the digital analog conversion, transport control, etc. So all of that is in this separate single board, and then the analog signal goes to the main board. Since we are talking about the main board, so you see here the tuner section, FM, possibly also AM tuner, don't remember to be honest. So all this section is radio, My guess is that here below starts the preamplifier. There is a separate board, you might see there, with the tone controls and balance. You see here a separate board for the inputs. The 3 inputs that I mentioned, 2 outputs, are controlled in this board. No capacitors or active components, only passive ones, and a chip, which I guess is for the input selection. Here on the left we have the huge, really huge power transformer. This is the size and the weight that I typically see in amplifiers of 80 watt. This amplifier I think is 2 times 45 or about that number. So not as powerful, but yeah, the transformer is really huge. When you grab this amplifier, you notice that possibly 70% of the weight is on this side because of that transformer. And then let's start with some of the nice details. Separate boards. You see here the power switch is on a separate board. The cable, you probably cannot see it, but over there is the metal core. So the power cable is crossing a metal core. The metal core is screwed on the metal chassis of the transport area. So all very nicely done. And this is the flat cable that brings the electricity from the power transformer into the main board. And notice things like this bridge, plastic bridge, to make sure that the cable is always far and apart from all the sensitive electronics that might get distortion if that cable was running closer. And we are reaching the power section. By the way, talking about heat dissipation and power section, I had to take off the cover to record the video, but the cover is fully perforated on the top and on the sides, both sides. So on the left and right side the cover is perforated, and also the bottom chassis has a lot of perforations and also is fully open here near the heatsink. So this thing really breathes fantastic. Really, the heat dissipation is probably one of the best, if not the best, that I've seen so far. Heatsink, nice and large. You can see there the transistors. You see a separate board with the motor for the volume potentiometer, and that board there over there is just for the A and B speaker selection. And then the speaker signal goes again via a flat cable, which is as thick as the electrical ribbon cable. And notice again the detail, bridge or tower, a plastic tower, to make sure that that flat cable doesn't run near the more sensitive electronics that might pick up some noise from that ribbon cable. Decent sized capacitors. There is room and certainly there is height to put much larger capacitors. So if one day I replace them, I'm probably going to do that. Speaker switch, very nice terminals from this class. I mean, it's not particularly high-end, but I've seen them much worse than this. So this is a proper quality for the 2 speaker terminals. And I think I've covered most of what I wanted to discuss for this video. Yeah, so great choice if you have elderly people that need an easy to operate but well built all-in-one